Nobody warned me that Parkinson's would take these things. They warned me about tremor. They warned me about stiffness. They warned me about balance. But nobody sat me down and said, Bryce, Parkinson's may slowly take your confidence, your spontaneity, your privacy, your independence, and pieces of the person that you used to be. Those losses do not always show up on a scan, but you feel them. And the last one may be the hardest because it can make you question whether you still even recognize yourself.
Welcome to Living with Parkinson's. The good, the bad, and the reality. Real talk, real life, real community with Bryce Perry. Let's begin.
Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm Bryce, and I was diagnosed with Parkinson's at the age of 40. And this is Living with Parkinson's, the good, the bad, and the reality. Now today, we're talking about what Parkinson's takes beyond movement. The quieter losses that can leave you looking fine while your life is being renegotiated underneath the surface. Now, let's start with something Parkinson's can steal before you even realize it's gone. And that would be, number one, would be spontaneity. Now, before Parkinson's, leaving the house was simple, right? Someone called and said, hey, do you want to go for dinner? You said, sure. That was it. There was no strategy meeting. There was no weather analysis. There was no medication mathematics. There was no checking whether the restaurant had stairs, had booths, tiny bathrooms, loud music, slippery floors, or chairs apparently designed by somebody who hates knees. You just went. Parkinson's can turn one simple invitation into a full planning committee. What time are we leaving? When did I take my medication? Will I be on when we arrive? How far is the walk from the parking lot? What if I freeze? What if I need the bathroom? How long are you going to be there? Can I get home before my body decides the evening's over? The people inviting you may only see a yes or a no. They may not see the 47 calculations happening behind your forehead. And eventually saying no can feel easier than explaining all of that. And that is how spontaneity disappears. Not in one dramatic moment, but one invitation at a time. Planning helps us keep living, but it can still hurt when every ordinary outing feels like a small military operation. I miss the freedom of not having to think about my body before I make a decision. I miss being able to say yes first and solve the details later. Now, Parkinson's wants the itinerary, the parking map, the medication schedule, and apparently a signed permission slip from my nervous system. And sometimes the loss is not dinner itself, but it's feeling that life is happening while you are still deciding whether your body can afford to participate. And that deserves to be named. It really does. And if that's you, give me a me too in the comments for that, please. Just so I know I'm not alone, please. All right, number two, the second one is confidence. Parkinson's can quietly make you second guess things that you used to do without even thinking about it. Walking into a crowded room, crossing a busy street, carrying a drink, standing in line, signing your name, speaking in front of people, even getting out of a chair when you know someone's watching. Now, the task may be small, but the question in your head becomes enormous. Can I do this without freezing? Will my hands shake? Will my voice come out? Will I lose my balance? Will somebody rush over to help when I don't even need it? Or worse, will nobody help me when I do? Confidence rarely disappears all at once. It gets chipped away by moments. A stumble in public, a cup that you nearly dropped, a word that would not come out, a cashier waiting while your fingers refuse to cooperate, a person finishing your sentence because apparently 3 seconds of silence has become a national emergency. Each moment leaves a mark, and soon you're preparing for embarrassment before anything's even happened. You're not only doing the task, you are managing the possibility of it going wrong in front of other people. And sometimes we avoid something not because we can't do it. We avoid it because we don't want to be watched doing it differently. That is not vanity. That's vulnerability. I've spoken to large groups, I've traveled, and have built this channel. But Parkinson's can still make me feel unsure in ordinary moments. And that is the contradiction. You can be confident in who you are and still lose confidence in what your body will do next. Those are not the same thing. And rebuilding confidence with Parkinson's does not always mean doing something exactly the way you used to. Sometimes it means finding a new way and refusing to be embarrassed by it, using the rail, taking the cane, asking for more time, choosing the seat next near the door, or letting your body be different without letting shame narrate the entire scene. And that's not giving in. That is confidence wearing different clothes. And if this is putting words to something you have felt, then I need you to subscribe. Every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and live on Wednesdays, we talk about the real parts of Parkinson's that do not always fit in a medical appointment. Okay, so join along with us. It's not just a channel, it's not just a podcast, it's a community. All right, let's move on. The next one is really deeply personal because Parkinson's can make parts of your life public that you never agreed to share. So, number three is privacy. Now, before Parkinson's, your body was mostly your own business. You decided what people knew, you decided what you explained, you decided when something personal stayed personal. And then Parkinson's arrived with the discretion of a marching band. A tremor can announce itself before you have said a single word. A shuffle can tell strangers something's different. A frozen step can turn a doorway into a public event. Someone notices your medication. Someone asks why your hand is moving. Someone watches you struggle with a button, a fork, a payment machine, or a bathroom door that appears to require an engineering degree to open. And suddenly, a private moment has a witness. Now, some people ask kindly, some stare, some offer advice based on a documentary they watched in 2009, and some speak to the person beside you instead of speaking to you, which is always a delightful little bonus. Parkinson's can also change privacy at home. Your spouse may know when you took your medication. They may notice your bathroom habits, your sleep, your balance, your swallowing, your mood. They may need to help with things that you never imagined needing help with. And that can be intimate and frustrating. Care partners need information to help, but the person with Parkinson's still needs the dignity. There is a line between support and feeling monitored, and that line can move depending on the day. Some days being asked, "Did you take your medication?" that feels really helpful. But on other days, it feels like you've been placed under home supervision by a very attractive probation officer. The tension is real. The loss of privacy does not mean that we are ungrateful for help, but it means that we are adjusting to a life where more people may need access to parts of us that used to belong only to us. We need ways to talk about that without making the care partner feel rejected and without making the person with Parkinson's feels managed. It's not easy. Support should not erase adulthood or choice. Let me say that again. Support should not erase adulthood or choice. Dignity should not disappear because the body needs assistance. All right, there we go. Three down, three left. So far, we've talked about the freedom Parkinson can quietly take from your everyday life. But the final three go deeper. They affect how much control you feel you still have, how large your life becomes, and ultimately how you see yourself. And the final one took me years to understand because Parkinson's, it did not only change what I could do, it changed who I thought I was. All right, so number four is independence. Now, this may be the loss people fear the most. Not because independence means doing everything alone. It means having a say, driving yourself, going somewhere without arranging for help, making a meal, managing your medication, getting dressed on your own schedule, going to the bathroom without needing somebody nearby, choosing when to leave, where to sit, how long to stay, and whether you want help at all. Parkinson's can slowly add other people to decisions that used to belong only to you. That's tough. At first, it may be small. Can you open this? Can you drive tonight? Can you come with me? Then one day you realize that you are waiting for somebody else before you can do something that you used to be able to do alone. And that can feel like gratitude and grief at the same time. You can be thankful for the help and still hate that you need it. And often the frustration is not anger at the care partner. Okay. It's grief for the version of yourself who did not have to ask. And care partners can feel trapped in this too. They want to keep you safe. You want to keep your freedom. Both people are protecting something really important. Safety and independence do not always hold hands nicely. Sometimes they wrestle in the driveway while everybody's trying to leave. The answer cannot always be, no, you cannot. And it can't always be, I will do whatever I want. The better conversation is, what part can I still do? What support would make this safer? What matters most to me here? Maybe you can't drive at night. Maybe you can still drive a familiar route, though, during the day. Maybe you need help getting into the shower, but you want privacy once you're safely inside. Maybe somebody prepares the medication, but you still choose when and how you take it within the plan from your care team. Independence does not have to mean all or nothing. Sometimes it becomes a shared independence, a partnership that protects safety without quietly taking away the person. All right? And stay with me because the final two losses, though, they go even deeper. Okay. One can make you feel as though your life is becoming smaller. But again, that last one can make you wonder whether you are still the same person inside of it. So let's keep going. Number 5, and this is your world gets smaller. Parkinson's does not always take the big things first. Sometimes it takes the edges. The restaurant you stop going to because the booths are difficult. The friend you see less because evenings are harder. The trip you decide is too complicated. The hobby that now takes 3 times the energy. Or the crowded event you skip because noise, movement, and people coming at you from every direction feels like your nervous system has been dropped into a blender. None of those choices look dramatic. You are being sensible and conserving energy. And one day you realize your world has become smaller. Same chair, same room, same routine, same safe spaces. And the danger is not routine itself. Routine can be incredibly helpful with Parkinson's, but the danger is when safety quietly becomes isolation. When I do not feel like going really means I'm afraid my body will betray me. When it's too much trouble means I don't want anybody to see how hard this is becoming. Or when maybe next time slowly becomes never. Now I understand why. The world is tiring. People are impatient. Bathrooms are a gamble. But every time Parkinson's takes a place, an activity, or a relationship, it takes a piece of our life with it. Now, that does not mean forcing ourselves into unsafe situations. It means asking whether there is another way. Could we go earlier? Could we stay for less time? Choose a quieter place or bring the cane. Ask for an accessible table. Let somebody else drive. Take the trip with more rest built in. The goal is not to pretend nothing's changed. The goal is to stop Parkinson's from making every decision unchallenged. Sometimes courage is redesigning the day so you can still be a part of it. A smaller world may feel safer, but connection matters too. It really does. And now we come to the loss that sits underneath all the others. And that's number 6, and that's parts of your identity. See, Parkinson's can take things you do, but the harder loss is when those things were part of how you understood yourself. Maybe you were the strong one, the provider, the organizer, the driver, the person who fixed things, the person everybody called when they needed help, the funny one, the energetic one, the person who walked into a room without thinking about walking into the room. Then Parkinson's begins changing what you can do, how you speak, how quickly you respond, and how others see you. And somewhere in that change, you may start asking, who am I now? If I cannot work the way I used to, am I still useful? If I need some help, am I still strong? If my face does not show what I feel, am I still me? If someone else has to take over, what is my role now? And those are not small questions. Medical appointments focus on movement, medication, sleep, balance, falls, all important. But they may not ask what it feels like to lose the role you built your life around. That grief can be quiet. It may feel like anger, embarrassment, restlessness, or being strangely disconnected from your own life. And for years after my diagnosis, I thought Parkinson's had taken the version of me that mattered. I thought strength meant hiding it. I thought usefulness meant doing everything myself. I thought being Bryce meant being the person I was before Parkinson's, but I was wrong. Parkinson's changed what I could do. It did not erase what I could give. How I contribute, lead, and help people, it changed. My identity did not disappear. It had to expand. And I think that is the part that we don't talk enough about. You are not only the job you did, you are not only the task you can no longer perform, you are not only the person who drives, cooks, earns, fixes, organizes, or takes care of everybody else. Those roles matter, and losing them hurts. But your value was never hiding inside of a car key, a paycheck, a toolbox, or a perfectly buttoned shirt. You are still here, still loving, still thinking, teaching, laughing, and affecting the people around you. Parkinson's may force us to answer the question, who am I? Again, that's unfair. But the next answer does not have to be smaller. If Parkinson's has changed a role that once defined you, write it in the comments. Just put like, I am still me. Because somebody else needs to read that today. And care partners are not only watching symptoms change, they're watching roles inside the relationship change too. Which brings me to Carmen's Care Partner Corner. And this is what my wife Carmen had me read for you today. When Parkinson's changes what somebody can do, it can quietly change the relationship too. There are things Bryce used to handle that I now do more often. There are things I watch more closely because I'm worried about safety. And sometimes I step in too quickly. And not because I think he is incapable, but because helping feels easier than standing there wondering whether he may struggle. But when I automatically take over, I may solve the task and accidentally take away the choice. Care partners need help too, because we're trying to balance safety, time, worry, and respect, often in the same 5-minute conversation. What I've learned to ask is, do you want help? Which part would you like me to do? Or would it help if I stayed nearby? And that gives Bryce room to remain involved instead of turning him into a passenger in his own life. And the person with Parkinson's can help by telling us what support feels respectful. We can't always preserve the old roles exactly as they were, but we can build new ones together because love is not doing everything for somebody. Sometimes love is helping without taking them away from themselves. I do have a Carmenism for you. So, Bryce, please read this the way I wrote it. All right, will do, Carmen. With Parkinson's, caregiving is knowing when to lend a hand and when to keep that hand in your own pocket. Back to you, Bryce. Oh, I like that. I like that. Parkinson's takes enough without us helping it take more. It may take spontaneity, confidence, privacy, independence, parts of your world, and pieces of identity you once knew. But those losses do not mean that your life lost value. They mean the way you live it may need to change. I know that sounds easier than it is. I really do. I'm not saying it's easy. Some changes hurt. Some days, adaptation does not feel inspiring. It feels exhausting. But every time we name what Parkinson's is taking, we get a chance to decide what we are going to protect. Maybe we protect one outing, one friendship, one decision, or one task that we still want to do ourselves. One part of our identity Parkinson's does not get to define. All right, there you go. Well, you made it this far, so you've made it to the Bryceism of the episode. And here it is. Parkinson's may change what I can do, but it does not get to decide what I'm worth. There you go. So tell me in the comments, what is one thing Parkinson's has taken that nobody warned you about? Not just a symptom, but a part of life. Because your answer may put words around something somebody else has been grieving quietly. And share this episode with somebody who needs to understand that Parkinson's affects far more than just movement. Thank you for being here today. I really appreciate you. And until next time, I want you to keep showing up. I want you to keep being real. I want you to keep protecting the parts of life that still matter. And I want you to keep doing life today. I love you all, and I'll see you on the next episode. Bye now.